Hi, I'm Chuck Samikian,
And I'm John Tolheimer. Welcome to the HR Stories Podcast,
where there's a lesson in every story.
All right, Chuck, you know what today is?
Today is International HR Day.
Oh, it was International HR Day. It is, as we record this, International HR Day. It is Q&A Day.
Yes, it's Q&A Day. We love Q&A Day.
Podcast. We love our Q&A. Oh, we got some good ones today, Chuck. We got some good ones. All right. Are you ready for the first one, Mr. Samikian?
I am ready. Shoot away.
Before I start this, I'm going to give you a little praise. I think that you're doing an amazing job being the director of HR at a large resort. Because, man, the stories you're telling me and all the things that you're dealing with, it's amazing. And then you keep your sanity and you keep focused and you work hard, but you also know how to have a little fun too. And I think the people there appreciate it. And I love, you know what I really love about
What do you love? What do you love?
Is your mentorship of your staff.
Yes, thank you.
I've seen them in some of our classes. I've seen them taking some of our learning. I know they listen to our podcast, so that's great. Okay, sorry. I just kind of had to segue there because that was on top of my mind. All right, Chuck, here's one that came in from a listener dealing with military leave situation. We had a security manager get called up to the Army Reserves duty, and he's been gone about 13 months. Well, thank him for his service. While he was away, we hired someone else into the role who's done a great job. Now, the original employee is returning, and we're not sure what to do. We're thinking about offering him a different manager level job in another department. Does this satisfy our legal obligation? What happens if he says no?
Oh, yeah. Well, this is a great question. And this is the classic case where USERRA, USERRA, comes into play. So that's the Uniformed Services Employment and Re-Employment Act, Rights Act. And it gives very clear protections to employees who have who leave for military service and then return to work. So here's the bottom line with USERRA. You have to return the employee to the position they would have had if they had not left. That means either their exact job or a comparable one, a comparable one here's the deal, John, in pay, seniority, and status. So if they were a security manager when they left, there's no clear reason to believe they would have lost that position otherwise. Then legally, you need to offer that job back. In other words, if they left and they left in good standing and there was nothing, oh my gosh, we discovered all these things when they left, there's no reason to have not kept them in that job. Then when they return, you have to put them in that job. That is a cornerstone of the USERRA law.
All right, so even if we've hired somebody into that position while they were gone, because we can't leave positions open, we have to backfill. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, here's the deal. The thing with USERRA is that it doesn't make exceptions for inconvenience. If someone else is in the role now, you may need to reassign that person, maybe promote them if it makes sense, or restructure the department. But the returning service member has the right to reclaim their job. Now, offering them a manager job in another department like accounting, well, that's okay, but only if they voluntarily agree. You can't say, hey, take this or leave it unless the new role is truly equal in every way and the employee willingly accepts it.
Yeah, and I think one of the things, and I talk to people about this when FMLA leave and URSA leave and ADA leave. If you're bringing somebody on, be very clear to them that this is a temporary role. Mm-hmm. And, it's going to last 13 months or 12 weeks or whatever it is, right? Be very clear to them, hey, this is what it's going to be. When this person comes back, if you're doing a great job, we'll try to find a place for you, but we may not have one. I need legally to put that person back in there. So what happens if you do offer them that accounting manager role and they're like, I don't want to do that?
Yeah.
How do you handle that?
So then you're back to square one. you have to offer them their old job, and or potentially face a USERA violation, which could bring down and rain down all kind of problems on you, and even in the court of public opinion, shall we say. Like I said, legal trouble, back pay, reinstatement orders, even damages. And John, you may be thinking, well, it's a security manager, accounting manager, but it may be the same in level and pay, but is it the same in status? You see,
Yeah.
is being the security manager, walking around, taking care of stuff, guest facing, interacting, has a little more power in a way. You think about it. What's an accounting manager? Yeah, they might have some power of the pen in some ways, but they're just processing stuff. And, unless they truly have the discerning power that a security manager does to, to, to take certain actions. And so that's where the status thing comes in. Accounting manager is more back of the house. I would think in this company, and security manager is going to be more front of the house.
Yeah,
So
and I also think it's not only status, but it's a skill set,
yeah,
right? I may not have a skill set to manage accountants, right, or be account manager, where I've worked and I've done this job and I know I'm really good at it and I have those skills. I want to go back to where I'm comfortable versus having to learn something new on
yeah.
there.
So all right.
So how do we handle this? What's the
Uh,
smart way to handle it?
Okay, this is turning into a longer question, but I guess it is an important one.
Yeah, yeah.
So I've dealt with this before, and what you want to do first thing is you want to welcome them back. Thank you for coming back, and they already have probably notified this company, "Hey, I'm coming back. I'm coming back." The military coaches these. These service members on what they need to do, when they need to do it, and they're going to get very, very set phone calls and very regular intervals. And your job is going to be to welcome them back. Let them know that their job is protected, but also offer the new opportunity if it's available and if it's a good fit. And you brought up the fit and the skill set situation. Make sure it's their choice and document everything. And if you're restructuring, like promoting the new person to director, let's say, or you're taking the current incumbent and let's say they're the manager, now the other manager is coming back, you may be able to promote that incumbent manager up to another position. That's okay, if it makes sense. And if that person does truly have more experience, and you're not penalizing the returning service member. But don't use it to block the returning employee from their rightful role.
All right, I got it. So we support our service members, right? That makes common sense. Follow the law. Communicate clearly, right?
Yep, exactly. And USERA, the USERA law is all about making sure military service doesn't come at a cost to someone's civilian career. It's a big deal, and if you handle it right, you can do that while also recognizing the contributions of the people who stepped up. So there we go.
Yeah, I
Boom.
love it. I love that. And I would say, everyone, if you're not familiar with URSA, spend some time with it because they also have training provisions in there. So if that job's not there anymore, you have to give them a job back. And then you're going to have to train them into a new job and a new role. You got to do all that stuff. So definitely make sure you're spending time with URSA and getting to know it if you haven't already.
USERA.
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 Yeah. USERA, United States. Da, 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 da. Okay. Are you ready for question 2?
Question 2.
All right, here it is. Do you have any suggestions from Danielle? Do you have any suggestions for when you try to tell ownership or management about policies or procedures that need to be done, but they won't listen, or do what should be done?
It's so tiring, and it happens. I've dealt with people that they don't like the answer, and they don't agree with the answer, so they think the answer must be wrong. Okay.
Right.
It's like, no, this is the answer. I've been doing this for 20, 30 years. I've done this before. No, you need double check. You need to find out. I'm like, okay. And it is frustrating. And even, and it does make you, and I understand what our listener probably is feeling. It makes them feel like they don't have credibility, and they should be thinking, I have credibility. You need to believe me. But a lot of times, bosses and owners, their job is to push back and make you earn that credibility. But also, they definitely want to make sure that all your bases are covered. So you cannot be in HR the person that says, this is the way it is, and not have any backup. John, you've got to have backup. So someone disagrees and they won't listen, you could say, hey, look, let me just show you. It's not just me. Here's the law. Okay.
Right.
And on top of that, here are situations of companies that did not follow the law. And here's what happened to them. And that's really all you can do is you can't change people, but you can effect change by possibly showing the consequences and also making sure you have your backup. Make sure you're ready to defend your position, and it cannot be just because I said it's so.
Yeah, and I would say that a couple things I will add to this. One is sometimes when we're dealing with a supervisor or low level manager, we just want them out of our office, right? We just want to move on. We know what we're doing, blah, blah, blah. We've been doing this for 20, 30 years, blah. And so, but if you take the time to give them that backup information or what we call reasonable basis, you're proving your worth. You're showing that you're trustworthy. And then more likely as time goes on and they develop that trust, like, man, that Chuck, he knows what he's talking about. Then they're going to be like, yep. Oh, I asked Chuck. Chuck said we can't do it, or Chuck said to do it this way. That's the way I'm going to do it. It takes time sometimes to build trust up. I also think that's true with owners even more so because I've been doing this for 25 years, kid, and you're going to tell me how to do this? Yeah, and so showing them the reasonable basis, showing them articles of where companies get it wrong, have them listen to an HR Stories podcast where a company got it wrong, can be also another great way to kind of do all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. What else you got, John?
Okay, so this is an interesting one. This one I think popped up in one of my payroll law courses. And so here's the question, and I don't have the person's name. Oh, it's Martha. And it says this: what is the way to deal with employees not taking breaks and they want the company to compensate them for lost time?
They don't take breaks. That's kind of a confusing question. So I'm
I know.
trying to map this out. What's the way they don't take
So let me
breaks?
break it down because
Yeah.
I kind of remember a little bit, right? So here you have an employee that I want to work. I come in at 7. I normally leave at 3. So I'm going to work from 7 to 2:30, and then I'm going to leave early, or I'm going to work 7 to 3, and I want you to pay me for that half hour
Oh, right.
that I didn't take my lunch.
Okay. Okay. Well, John, it's all about monitoring, holding accountable, and being consistent. Okay, with everyone across the board. I see it all the time, and it's like whether it's 20 years ago, people still make the. I don't know if current employees, younger employees now are reading stories about, hey, this is how you can get around and make more money and get off early. But it's like, it's almost like a broken record. So yes, there are going to be employees that are going to be like, hey, I worked through my lunch, so you need to pay me my extra half hour. So I need to get 8.5 hours today. And if they truly work through their lunch, guess what? Ta-da! You do have to pay them. That does not mean, though, you don't have to document them and coach or counsel them and say, you must swipe out for your 30-minute break.
Yeah.
But you do have to pay them. On the flip side, there are the folks that will say, I did not take my 30-minute break. I'm going to leave early. See ya. And if they do that and you say, no, you can't leave, I'll pay you that extra half hour. I don't like paying overtime, but I need you to stay. And they don't, and they leave. That's insubordination. That's walking off the job. That's job abandonment. You can take action based on that. I know you don't want to fire people. Oh, then we're firing everyone. So then it becomes a tug of war. You may need to make an example of someone. Okay, get tough. But then again, sometimes if you just sit down with people and say, look, I need you till 3 o'clock. Okay, I need you here from 7 a.m. till 3 p.m. And here's why: because your
Right.
relief isn't coming in until
2:45.
2:45. And if you leave at 2:30, I don't have anyone here for 15 minutes or 30 minutes or something like that. And therefore, the gate is unattended, things like that.
Yeah, and I mean, again, right, I agree with all that. I think that was a good way to look at it, right? And so, again, if your employee works, right, and I talk about this all the time, you go back to the Fair Labor Standard Act, right, written in 1938. They say if to employ means to suffer or permit to work. And so, if we have somebody that's working, right, whether we're suffering them to work or we're permitting them to work, so if they're working during the lunchtime, we're permitting them to work. We got to pay them.
Yeah.
No questions out. We have to pay them. We have to pay them. The other thing that I will tell everyone and remind everyone that the only way you do not have to pay them is if they take a full 30-minute break or more.
Right.
So if they take a 20-minute break or you interrupt their 30-minute break with work, then it's not a full uninterrupted 30-minute break, right? So kind of doing that as well. It's all about policies. You need to have policies in place to define, like, this is what our expectation is. We expect you to walk away from your desk and take a 30-minute break.
Right.
So,
all right.
All right. Are you ready for the next question?
Bonus question. Whoop, whoop. Okay.
It's a little deeper, a little more cerebral than like boom, boom, boom. All right. So, what are key things that a lot of companies are doing to propel their HR department? I'm asking, thinking about the future and what we are seeing today that is taking companies, especially their HR departments, to the next level. What are some things we can do to take our HR department to the next level?
Yeah. Well,
do you want to think about it while I give you my answer?
Yeah, I would. I can think right off the cuff what I think HR departments need to do. But
so this was a conversation I was having with somebody, and I say, great question. For companies, it's using technology.
Ah, you stole my thunder. I'm done. I'm out of here.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Chuck.
Ouch.
I hope that didn't hurt anybody's ear as he threw down his microphone on the ground.
Yeah, it was what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say, but go ahead.
All right, well, let me finish what I was going to say, and then you could add your 2 cents, whatever that's worth.
Probably 1.5 cents.
Yeah, it's about using technology to create a better employee experience throughout their life cycle. This includes AI and other automation so that the experience is smoother, while at the same time giving them the human touch.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly it. And being more efficient with folks. Look, I got to tell you, to propel your HR department forward, you've got to figure out more efficient ways to do things. And I've talked about this over the years. We have all introduced technology into our HR department because it was meant to make us free to go out and be with the employees and be more face-to-face and hands-on. And all the technology that I'm dealing with every day right now is tying me to a desk. I could do my job as an HR director sitting outside of my office. I don't have to actually be there. The reason I have to be in the office is because it is nice to get up, go around, see what's going on, go across the hallway to talk to another manager. But for the most part, I am shackled to the desk, clicking, 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 clicking. and it's not gotten easier. So I would say there are a lot of HR systems out there that are starting to adapt new technology, new AI technology that I believe is starting to free them up from their desk. But we shall see. We shall see.
Those are great answers, Chuck. Thank you for being here today. I always appreciate your insights as a working HR director. You always bring my HR-ness up to another level, and I'm always appreciating that. All right. Well, this has been your HR Stories podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, please send us your questions. We love hearing from you. I say it every single time. We're here. We're going to answer your questions. Right? We'll answer your questions. If it's just confidential, you're doing that. We've had a lot more people reach out over the last month. So feel free to reach out, right? And even if you don't want us to share it on air, just hey, I have this question. How do you do this? Let us know. We'll do our best to answer it in a timely manner. Any last final thoughts?
No,
Chuck?
thanks for listening to the HR Stories podcast. Don't forget our book, The Ultimate Guide to HR, Checklist Edition, available on Amazon.com. Search The Ultimate Guide to HR, and you will find it and us and over 80 checklists of everything you need to do to run your HR department, whether you are an HR person or a small business owner.
Or an office manager.
Or an office manager. Thanks, everybody. See ya.